Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second part of the stories behind the victory. That's right, this is part two. So, yesterday we left off where it was like I was supposed to have the surgery in January. We all know that didn't happen. So, what actually happened was I was scared. I was very scared, and I prayed through it all. But nonetheless, I still didn't want to do it. And it's funny how God is always there for us, and He lets us go through our situations. He lets it unfold. And He's just waiting there for us to be like, you know what, God, here, this is beyond me. I need you to do it. So I wasn't there yet. I was talking with God, and then I was thinking, before I had talked to God, I had this thought already, like, look, what I think is happening is I think that God is like super busy right now, and I think He's going to do a miracle, and I think He just needs a little more time to do that miracle in me, so I don't have to have this surgery. I just know that's what it's going to be. So when I got the phone call, yes, the phone call, the nurses call me and they say, Nina, you know, it's time to start the pre-op lab work and all the testing and paperwork. And I said, funny you mentioned this, because I was looking at my calendar right now. I just pulled it up, and I don't know what happened, but I'm completely booked, and we have to change this date. So she changes it for me. No, I did not go through my surgeon to do that. I went through the nurses, kind of like going through the back door. And when the surgeon found out a couple weeks later, he was like, what are you doing, woman? And I said, I was busy, doctor, I was busy, and God needs a little more time, because you might see something right now that you can't explain through science, like a miracle, but He just might need a little more time, so I just wanted to give Him that time. So he says, Nina, no more changing the surgery. All right, yeah. So that's how that happened. And at that point, when they extended it and said yes, there was still a lot of fear, and I was like, what did I just do? Will I really be able to tolerate this pain that I'm living with? It's going to keep getting worse. Am I really going to be able to live with it? Or did I just make a big mistake and I'm going to suffer a lot in the end? Lord, I'm just going to ask you to protect me, and I'm talking to God, and that's how my conversations are with God. People are like, well, how do you talk? You just talk to Him like I'm talking to you. So trust me, He talks our language. He gets me. So I'm telling Lord, you know, I'm just going to thank you for this extra time and this extra 150 days that I probably shouldn't have had, but I just got. So I'm asking you to protect me. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do all my exercises, aquatherapy, cryotherapy, acupuncture. I'm going to do all of that after work every day, at least one. And just have my back, Lord. And please help me through this process. And if you do that miracle, look, you got the time now, Lord, so I just thank you in advance. And so what came in my heart, and when it comes in your heart, I believe that's God talking to you. And it came in my heart that, you know what, though, you've been given those 150 extra days. Don't take it for granted. And so that is the gift that came in this time of suffering. No one, very few people really knew exactly the extent in which I was working and what I was going through. I purposefully did not want people to know, because I don't like pity. I'm like, I don't need no help. I'm Big Bad Nina. That's just who I am, man. I don't like pity. It makes me weak. I can't, because this disease thrives on self-pity, pity from others. No. You don't have time for any of that mess. So I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to scare the people I was working with. Like, she's really working with a broken arm, successfully. And so I left that alone. But then I told God, but you know what? I got to be grateful for what I have. Because for some reason, I kept having this horrible negative feeling about the surgery. And I really, honest to God, I thought, this is going to be the surgery that takes me out forever, and I'm not coming back. This is it. This is it for me. And Lord, if that is your will, then I accept it. You've already told me in prayer that this is a time that you will be transforming me. That's another story. Some of you know it, but that is a message I had received through a prayer in a very big way. So I knew he was transforming me, and I'm like, what does that mean? What does this transformation mean? Does it mean I'm out and I'm not going to be working anymore and you have another plan for me? That would break my heart. But you know what? Your plans are so much greater than my own plans for myself, so I'm going to have to trust you. However, I do have 150 days in my hand, Lord. So what I'm going to do is this. Check it out. Yes, I talk to God like that because he knows me. Like I said, he knows our personal language. So feel free to, send him a message. Hit him up. He's always there for you. So I said, then Lord, I'm going to give you all of me. And I am not going to take one day for granted. I'm going to thank you for each and every single one of these days. And that's when the 150-day countdown began. I said, Lord, I am going to tell you what I'm grateful for, that I still have this day that was almost not mine. And so I started sharing my gratitude. It helped at the beginning, but the countdown, not so much. And that's the beauty of going through challenges like this. As a school counselor, I help kids all the time with things like anxiety. And so to walk in those shoes, it became a blessing because I'm like, oh, that countdown thing, baby, don't do that. That just escalated my anxiety and my fear. So, some things people learn from a book. They go to lots of conferences, professional development. I'm a life pather, if that's a word. So I learned by life. So I really know if it's going to work or not. The countdown, don't do that. Don't do that. Gratitude, yes. Countdown, oh, heck no. So the gratitude worked, but also the mindset. I had to put my mindset in every day could be my last day, because I really didn't know if I was going to be able to tolerate the pain for the time that I had set myself to be at work. So every day I went in there and I said, you know what, I'm going to give it all I have and act as if it's the very last time I'm doing an empowerment, the very last time I'm doing a classroom presentation, the very last time I get to work with kids in this way. And I give all of my heart. And I think that's where I'm going to end, because that's where the next piece starts, is where when you get to that point where you're like, here, God, I give it all to you. I'm grateful for the little time I have. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to have to trust in you. So please be here for me. And in return, I'm going to give it all I got, Lord. If you have a different path for me, it'll break my heart, but I know that there will be something greater that comes out of it. And so I'm going to have to trust you with all this transformation business. And that's what got me to day 150. I did not make it to my surgery date. I did have to leave my job probably just about 4 or 5 days before the surgery, because the pain had gotten so bad. So I did my one last empowerment, one day to clean everything up, and whoosh, I was out of there, baby. So that's how that worked out. What is the next part of the story? You're just gonna have to wait and see. But you gotta see it, because the things that God did during those 150 days is still beyond me. So that's part 2 for the stories behind the victory. See you tomorrow.